Hello, everybody. Oh, yeah. This is a pie of 21 million Bitcoin, as you obviously can see. And those of us who are passionate about Bitcoin, we hear or see the number 21, and it's getting warm in our hearts. And it's iconic. We glorify that number. And sometimes we can't imagine there are still some other guys around outside who don't even figure out what this most important number means to us. Well, let me give you just, I need an assistant. Would you? Well, I give the 21 million Bitcoin like this to Barbara. And when I tell you, you will do the halving with the Bitcoins. Okay? Not right now? Okay, just start. Yeah, you start doing the halving. And in this short talk, I give you three things we will talk about. It's the halving. You're not on the line. Be precise. So the halving really gets us, obviously, to halves. The first halving happened in 2012, and 1/2 of the Bitcoins has been mined in this period. And it's always the principle. We cut it in halves, and then we have 50% to be mined in that period, and they are gone. And we have 50% left to be mined in all the periods they will come. So that's the principle of halving. And by showing you this graph, all right, there will be a better graph. This is just the first explanation. I'm an architect, and architecture is the combination of technique and beauty. And Bitcoin is technique, and Bitcoin is beauty, sometimes or very often. And we know the technical stuff quite well, or we think we know. And the beauty, sometimes we are, that's so wonderful how it fits. And I started looking, why is it 21 million? We adore the number, you see stickers and you see the t-shirts. And now, why is it 21 million? And if you ask people or even Bitcoiners, they sometimes say, well, it's the limit that matters. And it's the limit, I have to admit, that got me first into Bitcoin. Having a really a line which is not changeable. Nothing can change that line. You can't make more Bitcoin. Nobody can. You just can't lose them. But so this limit got me into Bitcoin. And you ask the Bitcoiners, they don't. Well, it's the limit that matters. It could have easily have been 100 million or 50 million or 42 million. But everybody who is in this rabbit hole and gets deeper in it, and everything you understand, finally, you see there has been no coincidence, not a random thing. And in my opinion, the 21 million is not random, and I'll show you how. And I read a lot of articles and books, and what they suggest why it could be 21 million. They say it's random, but it's a beautiful figure. For example, it's a triangular number. So what are triangular numbers? You write them down like this, and all these orange circled numbers are triangular. Well, but as you can see, 15 is as well as 21 and 28 is as well. So it's nice to have. Maybe it's not a good explanation. And another explanation is 21 is vice versa to 12. And 12 is a mystical number. You have them in fairy tales, the 12. In metric systems, everywhere is the 12. They write it down. It's not invented by me. Or 3 and 7. Well, 3 multiplied by 7 is indeed 21, and 3 is a very mystical number, and 7 as well. So another hint, maybe. Or, well, 21 million is half. We have the halving is half of 42. And everybody who has read the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy or heard of it from Douglas Adams knows that maybe Bitcoin is half the ultimate answer to the hitchhiker's question to life, the universe, and everything. Yeah, I like that. A more technical thing is 21 million is a floating point number. So what is a floating point number? It's in German Gleitkommazahl, and I'm not a developer nor a coder. It seems to be a very practical number which makes calculating simple, and Bitcoin always intends to be simple, so have that in your back mind. The answer why it's 21 million, it's pretty simple. Well, it's the code. It's the code. There's 21 million, not, yeah, you see it on the t-shirt. I like that. Maybe some of you don't like quotations like this at all, and they skip if they see a sum sign. But I will quickly explain to you. It's precisely 1 million if it would be until eternity, until so. But we have that is a point of we have satoshis, only 100 million satoshis in one Bitcoin. So we have one day the 30-second halving. All the last satoshi is mined. So, and we have a rounding problem, so it's a bit less than 21 million. So what is in this formula is the quotation, the counter is E. Before the first halving, we had 0, and then it counts up every halving plus 1. So let's do the math. In the first halving we had before, is it really the half of 21 million? So 2 high, 0 is 1, so it's 50 times 210,000 blocks. This is the amount of blocks between one and the next halving. I think most of you have seen that number. And 50 is the reward of the first, until the first halving, reward of 1 block. So it's half of 21 million, and indeed, that's what we got. Half, 10 and a half million were already mined after the first halving. But the code hasn't come from the sky like this on Earth, but maybe, but we have to question, why is it 210,000 and why is it 50? This is indicating the halving, and the halving, the Satoshi didn't want to have it smooth, but it's a line curve. That is common to almost everybody. Few. It's the halving and the halving and the halving, the next halving. It's time over here. And the Bitcoin will will near this 21 million. Yeah. The halving creates, in this harsh, we really do a halving. We provide half of the subsidy after one block to another. Poor miners, how would they deal with it? But it's not only the miners who earn less from one block to the next. It's, well, the whole community, everybody who is in Bitcoin, because obviously it's 210,000 block times this own subsidy, which is in the whole cycle being mined. So from one to the next, we have the half supply. And we are here after the fourth halving. And it's the first estimation, I would say, Satoshi made. It's the 4 year we nearly reached with this 210,000 blocks. Wanted to reach 4 years because it resembles to the economical cycle we had from ups and downs and again ups and downs. We are used to it, and these economical circles have been healthy until the government printed money endlessly to put in every hole and rescue banks and so on. And what was the other estimation Satoshi made to reach this 210,000 number is the thinking, tick-tock, next block. How long should this distance be? And he chose 10 minutes, which fits in 1 hour perfectly. So do 12 or 15 or 6 as well. Well, it was an estimation. How long would it be that the consensus really gets around the globe without creating too many orphan blocks or chaos? And it was a good estimation, lucky to us. Bitcoin is stable. Bitcoin works until now steadily. And if you do the calculation, 10 minutes is 6 times in an hour, multiplied by 24 for a day, multiplied by 365 days a year, times 4 years, you get to this number and this rounded. It's a bit less than 4 years. But again, Bitcoin wants to be simple, and who cares about the time, the real hour, minutes, and hours every here? What we want to know is block time. So block time has to be precise and clear and easy. So this explanation, this if you want it, that is the result of the calculation I just told you. Yeah. And if you want to add the 29th of February, you can do that as well. That doesn't matter. So next question is, why is it 50? And that is really the elegant part of it, in my opinion. So we had this in halves. What is half? Half and half is 50% and 50%, indeed. And to have the next one cut, it's 50% of 50% is indeed 25% of the whole Bitcoin amount. And that corresponds. So this graph shows you we started 2009, had our first halving, our second halving, third halving, 2020, 24. We are now between the fourth halving and the fifth halving. And this purple slide of Bitcoin was in this period is going to be mined all in all. And there is exactly the same amount of Bitcoin left to mine for all the future circles. And I added to this chart the block subsidy. The subsidy is the reward without the fees. And we all know the block subsidy. We know now we have 3.125 is the reward for one valid block we get. But it's not only the reward per block, it's the percentage of all Bitcoins being mined in this period. It's very simple. If you put it in a chart like this, you can really read it. So 50% has been the first, until the first halving, 25% until the second halving, and so on. You can always read how many Bitcoins are mined in this cycle. You just have the percentage here. It's the same as the subsidy, and you multiply it with 21 million, and you get the result. So I like this very much. What you also see in this chart is that there is, well, it's narrow, and the institutions and states and rich people really realize now what has been there. I didn't know, but now I go into it. And that is no question for me that they realize it's been stable, it works. And now the price can only go up, in my opinion, in the long run, because everybody gets in this small slices and crumbs of Bitcoin and Satoshis. I think I forgot a lot, but I thank you very much for your attention.